Hello everybody! Today I want to talk to you about homework. Ugh, even the sound of it makes me cringe. The word's disgusting. As you'll figure out, I am against homework. Homework is inequitable, unjust, and borderline abuse. Let's talk about why homework is not equitable. Schools were originally created for families of a higher SES status, so socioeconomic status. This means families with money. Schools were more accessible for families with money. Families that are at a lower SES, lower socioeconomic status, usually struggle with the institution of education. Homework is one of those causes. Let's look at why. Let's say that we have a student whose family is of a higher SES, so higher socioeconomic status. This student gets dropped off at school, they do all their work at school, they get a ride home, they're home early by like 4 p.m., they go to their nice quiet room, they do their homework. When they struggle, they ask their parents for help. Their parents both have college degrees, they understand the high school material, are able to help them. If their parents are working, then the parents hire a tutor to come help that student finish their schoolwork, and then they get to have their dinner and have a normal night. Now, if you are a student that is at a lower SES status, you might have other obstacles that are preventing you from completing your homework. Maybe you have to take the bus to school. You might have a 2 or 3 hour commute just to get home. So you get home from school. When you get home, you might have to help feed your brothers and sisters because your parents are both working. You take care of them. Then you help around the house. You might have an after-school job because the house requires extra income, and so you're not able to do your homework that night because you have to go to work. You also can't afford to have a tutor. You're also going to have a smaller house and maybe not have a quiet place to do your homework. So you might have a family where the entire family lives in a 1-bedroom apartment. All of that is detrimental to being able to complete homework. Now, this student will struggle with their homework and maybe not even turn in their homework. And in the end, the student of the higher SES was able to complete all their homework and get better grades compared to the student of the lower SES. So, how do we fix this? How do we combat this? Well, let's change our whole approach to homework. Let's basically stop giving it. You have these students for 8 hours a day. You have them for 8 hours a day, and then you want to send them home with 3 hours worth of homework. Well, not every student has 3 hours after school to dedicate to homework, and so that's not fair. I'm going to say something that'll probably make me unpopular with some teachers. But I have seen teachers that waste class time. They tell stories or they're inefficient with their class time, and then to make up for it, assign 3 hours of homework. Basically, you're punishing the students for your inability to use classroom time efficiently. And that's not fair to the students. I have my science students for 80 minutes at a time. I need to be able to teach them everything I need to teach them in 80 minutes. If I can't do that, I have to change my approach. I have to figure out how to deliver all of this knowledge and get them where they need to be in the time that I have them. I don't want to look at their outside time and their home time as a way to fill in those gaps. I don't think that that's fair to the students. We also got to look at the importance of social time. When students get out of school, they should be socializing with their friends. They should also be spending time with their family. All of that is really important. We should change the way we look at education as teachers and as a country. We should stop looking at home time as a second place to the classroom. We should look at it as students spend 8 hours at school for learning, and when they leave school, that's their personal time. If they want to spend it with friends, they want to spend it with family, they want to spend it doing sports, or if they have to have an outside job, if they have to take care of their siblings, maybe they have an elderly grandmother or grandfather that they have to take care of, that time is for them. It is not for the teachers to give them extra work to do because the learning didn't fully take place in the classroom. Now, this doesn't apply to every subject. There are some subjects that still do need to give some homework, and there is some homework that I think is excusable. Sometimes you'll have to read at home. It's not the most efficient thing to do in a classroom. Sitting down to read a textbook is not a good use of classroom time. So assigning reading makes sense, but asking a student to read an entire textbook at home is not practical. Having them maybe read 5 pages about a World War II battle does make sense. So reading is acceptable homework in my mind. Math, sometimes we have to practice math in order to really get good at it. But do you give them 100 problems to do at home? No, they should be able to do it in 10 problems. If they don't get it in 10 problems, they're not going to get it in 100 problems. If they get it in 10 problems, they probably get it in 100 problems. Over-assigning homework is abuse. You are taking away their family time and their social time. You need to give them much smaller problem sets in math. In English, yes, you can't complete an entire essay in the classroom all the time. And so there's going to be times where they have to complete essays at home. But asking them to complete an essay in a day or two, that's not fair because you don't know what their life is like once they leave the classroom. And so there will be times where students have to write. There will be times when students have to read. There will be times when students have to practice some math. There will be times when students have to study. But there's also students that don't have to study. They get it all in the classroom, and so they're not going to need that homework. If a student needs more help, then you give them the resources on how to study, and you help them with that. But this over-assigning of homework has to stop. I think that it's terrible for the students, and it's terrible for the parents too. As a parent, I want to be able to spend time with my kids when they get out of school and when they come home. I don't want my kid to have to go to their room and spend 3 hours working on homework when they just spent 8 hours at school. Stop it. We all need to stop giving so much homework. The students are going to appreciate homework assignments when they only get 1 or 2 a month. In my science classes, the students sometimes have to read. Sometimes I give them 2 or 3 4-minute videos to watch, and they have a week to do it. My homework is very minimal, and it's not graded. It's extra work that's going to help them come to class prepared. This is how we should look at homework. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time.